All right, check one, away we go. It is the Rant. I am Pugs Moran, and I'm about to give you, I don't know, all the day's news in one single file stream of consciousness rant. We do it every day. I sit down here, I go through the newspapers, I watch the morning news, I compile a list of all the things that are happening in this world today. Been doing it every day for 3 years. Join us, won't you? Got a chat room. Who's first in the chat room today? Don't like the new setup. It used to be that when I would sign on, I would see all the people already in the chat room. And now I do not. Now, I mean, it's upsetting to me. It used to make me feel good that I'd sign in and I'd see we have a very lively chat room. We got a fun chat room. We're all family in this chat room. We're having one big Thanksgiving Day argument. It's kind of how I look at it. What else do I need to tell you? Okay, this show, what is it? We do it in 4 quarters. We're going to give you all the day's news in 4 separate segments. One, we're going to go through this day in history. We're going to talk about stuff that has happened before. Then we're going to do birthdays. We're going to talk about some celebrities. Why? Because I like to riff on celebrities. Then we're going to do deads, people who died. More celebrities, just with a different bit of an angle. We're going to decide who these celebrities who died on this day, where'd they go, heaven or hell. Quarter 4, that's the bulk of the show. That's all the day's headlines, hot topics, and current events. Hi, Taronda. Hi, Cameron. Hi, Byron. Who else we got in there? There's Leslie C. As I often remind you, folks, this show does run on tips, so if you want to drop a little something in there, I saw some people helped us out yesterday. We got groceries. Thank you so much for that. You people are awesome. Oh, I can't find my thing. Why can't I find my thing? There it is. Boom. Most important. No, not most important, but yeah. There it is. I'll leave that up if you're so compelled to drop a little something to support this kind of talk radio. What is this kind of talk radio? Well, this is just a guy who represents absolutely no partisan viewpoint, who is completely unfiltered in his thoughts insofar as how I see the world. I'm not afraid to say something that's going to piss some people off and make other people cheer, or vice versa. I don't care. I think I'm just a normal dude. And I think, although mainstream media will have us believe otherwise, I think most of us, about 70% of us, are normal people. And that's who this show is for. It's a talk show for normal people who aren't carrying water for billionaires or pretending like, some lockstep partisan platform is, I believe in everything on there. Absolutely. If my guy says it, God damn it, that's not what we do here. But we do talk about the news like a couple of neighbors who are comfortable with offending one another. All right, who else do we have? Frankie B is here. I want to say hi to the people as they come in. Excuse me. We are right now. We have an issue. The dog has gotten out, but somebody, I'm assured, somebody is wrangling the dog. The dog is CeeLo. CeeLo used to do the show at my feet. I used to do the show from a home, a complex. Now we do it here from the beautiful Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the E Gallery in fabulous Dallas's Design District. The dog I used to know where the dog was during the entire show, but lately, we're coming here, we're doing stuff here, we're trying to accomplish something, we're trying to build Radio Misfits Dallas. And the dog got out today, and we don't know how. Do you want to know honestly what the working theory is right now? The working theory for me is that somehow I left the door to the garage ajar. There's a garage with a garage door, it's attached. I think that somehow I left the door to the garage ajar, and the dog got into the garage, which is typically she's not allowed in there, but she got into the garage. And I think this fucking dog figured out that there's a button on the wall that if she pushes, the entire wall goes up. I think that's what she did. I think she just got on 2 feet and hit the garage door opener, and the whole freaking wall opened up before her eyes. I think she's seen me do it before. And I think she was taking notes. This is the smartest this is the dog who figured out how to get the garbage out of the garbage compactor by opening a latch. She opens latch. She also, a couple of years back, y'all might remember this, she figured out how to open a door by using a doorknob. She would get on her 2 feet and she'd just start going like this to the doorknob while leaning on the door. And at some point, the door would pop open. And she's like, I can do this now. I can go in rooms if people don't want me. So she was out there. She was running around. A gentleman found her. A gentleman called. He found her. He was out jogging. He's like, yeah, I'm out jogging. I got 2 dogs of my own. And she was just standing in the middle of the street. I'm like, yeah, that's her. That's her standing in the middle of the street, challenging UPS trucks. That's what she wants. She just wanted a UPS truck to come by. That's what she was waiting for. What is it about the UPS truck? Is it that they're giant and brown that make dogs go nuts? Because all dogs freak out with the big brown UPS truck. Amazon too, the Amazon guy, but mostly it's when they see the UPS truck, they're like, I don't see colors, but that's something, right? Dogs are colorblind, right? So maybe the brown isn't a big player in it. Maybe it's the big giant rolling wall that pulls up in front of their house that freaks them out a little bit. Anyway, apparently she's good. The dude got her. And she was friendly, which is good because she apparently, and this is her thing, she's only vicious in the house. She's only vicious if you come near the house or in the house or something like that. She's gotten away before and she's just been lovely. People are like, she's so sweet. We're like, you didn't show up at the house at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Ask the mailman if she's so sweet. We got Kojak here. Hi, Kojak. We got Peter. Peter's here. All right. Guys, I don't know how long today's show is going to be because of some other things that are going on, not the least of which is that there is a dog rolling around the neighborhood just like, check me out. I don't look both ways. I just dart in front of things because I'm fast. That's her attitude. Smart enough to figure out how to open a garage door, but not smart enough to look both ways. Not smart enough to think there might be cars coming. I'm just going to jart out. Oh, God. Is there anything worse than having a dog that's a runner? I mean, it's times like this, I just want a big fat golden retriever who, like, maybe they get to the end of the driveway, but then they're like, I don't think there's a guarantee of food out here. And then they just go back into the house. That's what I think I need. But then I also like the, you know what? Never mind. I'm preoccupied with what the dog is doing right now. So anyway, today's show is going to be shorter. It's boys weekend. I got my kid this weekend. Got to go shopping yesterday. That's good. Kroger has a big sale on Powerade, which is nice. They're like $1 a bottle. They're like the size of Gatorade and they're like $1 a bottle. So I got like 10 of those. Not for me, of course. For my 15-year-old, that's all he drinks. That's all he drinks is like he drinks water. He drinks a lot more water. Kids drink water now. I don't think I had a glass of water until I was like 20 years old. Seriously, I'm not kidding. I didn't drink water. When I was a kid, if you were thirsty, you had juice or you had soda. My kid drinks a lot of water. But when he's not drinking water, he's drinking Powerade. Just like glug, glug. You know what he does? He likes this. And I did this for him because I'm a good dad. He likes them frozen. I don't know if you've ever frozen a fruit punch Powerade, but apparently they're really good. I don't know. He loves them that way. So I got 4 of them in the freezer. They're frozen. And then I got 6 more chilling in the fridge. What else did I get? We're doing cheesesteaks. Oh my God. Sometimes the gods, this might be Kelly. This might be Kelly doing this. 2 weeks ago, my kid issued me a challenge. He was laying in bed, he's watching a movie, and he's hungry. And he turns to me and he looks and he goes, I bet you could make really good cheesesteaks. Like, he just said that. And it was incredible because the way he said it, it told me that there was a slight chance that he believed that I might in that moment go, let's make cheesesteaks at 12:15, which I wasn't going to do. But he said it in such a way, I turned to him, I'm like, cheesesteaks? I go, I can make a cheesesteak. And he's like, I dare you. So there you go. Like, I knew he was like trying to, I'm like, first of all, we don't have the stuff for cheesesteaks, man. What do you think? We live in a hotel. I can just call down to the kitchen. So anyway, this is where I say the Kelly thing comes in. You know how I love the clearance aisle? The frozen clearance aisle at the Kroger is fantastic. You can find some amazing things in there. And it's not like, like amazing things. If you're adventurous with your food, go to the clearance aisle at Kroger. You'll find some stuff and you'll be like, oh my God, I didn't know that I liked mustard greens or, whatever. They get better stuff. They got better stuff than that. Like yesterday. So remember, my kid said that he wanted me to make a cheesesteak. I'm like, how do you make a cheesesteak? I got to figure out how to make a cheesesteak. So I go to the frozen clearance aisle yesterday at Kroger. And this is where I say, Kelly the cook, was like, you're going to make cheesesteaks and I'm going to make it happen. So I go into the clearance aisle and guess what? The clearance frozen aisle. They had like 20 boxes of Steakums for $1. Steakums for $1. I've never had Steakums, but I think that they're kind of like cheesesteaks. I think they say they're for cheesesteaks. Like, there's a lot of Steakums cheesesteak recipes. That's why I saw him, and I was like, holy shit, 2 weeks ago, he challenged me to make cheesesteaks, and now look at this. Now I'm presented with an opportunity to buy out the Mockingbird location of Kroger's entire supply of discounted Steakums, which I did. I bought 5 of them. So we're having cheesesteaks. So that'll be good. It's cheesesteaks and frozen Powerade. Also, the other thing we're looking forward to this weekend, I don't want to do anything this weekend. I don't want to go out. It's going to be like 110 degrees. So we're going to watch Hard Knocks. That's right. Hard Knocks. Preseason or whatever they call it with the Chicago Bears. That's my team. That's my son's second team. Trying to get him onto him. I mean, trying to look, one more seriously disappointing season for the Cowboys and one really good season for the Bears. And I think he might change his allegiance. Because you don't have to live in the town of the team that you root for any longer, the way it was when I was a kid or when you were a kid. I didn't get news about the Los Angeles Rams when I was living in Chicago. And yeah, they were in Chicago, they were in Los Angeles back then. Then they moved to St. Louis. Then they moved back to Los Angeles. Point is this, he can follow the Chicago Bears the same way that I do. And I follow them voraciously because of online. So we're going to watch Hard Knocks. We're going to eat cheesesteaks and we're going to drink frozen Powerades. That's my weekend and I'm looking forward to it. Got to do laundry first though. Got to get home and clean the sheets. The boy cannot be on dirty sheets. Not that my sheets are dirty. But they're 2 weeks old. They're from the last time I cleaned them before he came. There you go. Al's an Eagles fan, so you can follow the Eagles. You can follow the Eagles living in Dallas. You can follow the Eagles living in Portugal. Morning, James. KB's here. All right, let me open up the page. Let's get today's show started. I'm going to take a drink. Like I said, I'm going to rush through it. The phone. I'm going to wait for the phone. It's spinning so that the drive updates to the page that I'm actually looking for. So how you guys been? You look nice today. This is how long this stuff takes. It's a technology. They got us addicted to the use of the technology. And then it's woefully inconvenient at times like right now. Okay, there we go. Hey, it only took about, 30 seconds? Let's get started with the rant. I am Pugs Moran. Welcome to the rant here at the beautiful Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the E-Gallery on RadioMisfits.com. Radio Misfits Dallas is who we pretend to be. It is the 23rd day, 23, yeah, it is the 23rd day of August, year of our Lord, 2024. 236 more days left in this year, 130 until Happy New Year. 130 days. All right, let's do antecedently on this day. This is where we take a look back at all the things that have helped shape our understanding of this day. Previously on August the 23rd. Here we go. First and foremost, 79. Going back to 79. Mount Vesuvius begins stirring on the feast day of Vulcan, the Roman god of fire. Coincidence or just some shit that never happened? It didn't happen. Didn't happen. Like that's the way this history tells us from 79. Mount Vesuvius began to stir as the priests and high chieftains did their little voodoo about magic stuff. That's bullshit. That was applied 1,000 years later. 1,000 years later, they said, yeah, and it was on the feast day of Vulcan, the fire god. Isn't that fucking scary weird? No, stupid. History. There's no history before 1940 that I trust. That's true. Anything before 1940, I'm like, eh. And then what? Now I guess we got problems trusting the media now. But you know what I'm saying? As far as history goes, anything back then, that's all myth and legend to me. But then again, I'm a guy who believes Abraham Lincoln was gay and married to a psychopath serial killer. So, oh yeah. You ever hear that Mary Todd Lincoln was a serial killer theory? Uh-huh. She was... Don't fall for the Sally Field bullshit in that Spielberg movie. Mary Todd Lincoln was nuts. All right, that was the year 79. See, this is a stream of consciousness. We went from the year 79 in Mount Vesuvius to talking about whether or not Mary Todd Lincoln was a bipolar, psychopathic serial killer. On this day, antecedently, we're going to jump a little bit ahead. 1990. Saddam Hussein appears on Iraqi state television with a number of Western guests. Remember that when he had, these are my guests. They were hostages. Okay. He brought these people on TV in Iraq. They were all like from UK, some Americans, some Germans, whatever. He just gathered up a bunch of Western people, brought them to his little house, and he sat in a chair and he was like, these are my guests. You wouldn't want to attack my country when I have these guests. They were hostages. But what's real memorable about that, and it was on the news, you saw it. What's real memorable about that is there was a little boy who was sitting in front of Saddam Hussein. I want to say Saddam was seated, maybe. I think he was seated. Like, I want to picture in like a giant Game of Thronesy kind of thing, chair, you know. And he's rubbing the kid's head, and the kid looks absolutely fucking horrified. Horrified. Go find it on YouTube. That was on this day. Saddam Hussein appears on Iraqi state television with a number of Western guests in order to try to prevent the Gulf War. Antecedently on this day, 1 year later, 1991, 1 year later, this is an event that occurred on this day in 1991. And when it happened, it wasn't mentioned. Nobody knew. You know who knew? 15 people who were working on it. They knew. No, even they couldn't have known, but they knew this happened on this day. What I'm saying is this might be one of the most significant events in the history of humanity. And it happened on this day, and I promise you, nobody even mentioned it. Nobody even noticed it when it happened. For it was on this day in 1991 that the World Wide Web is opened to the public. I don't know what that means. It sounds big, though. It sounds big. Through the lens of history, that sounds pretty big. Antecedently on this day, in the year 2011, Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi is overthrown after the National Transitional Council forces take control of Bab al-Aziz compound. This occurred during the Libyan civil war. Did it all happen in one day? Like, did they take his compound and he went running, and that's when they found him in the drainage ditch and they raped him with a bayonet? Ooh. Hey. Just reporting the news. I'm just a newsman. That's what they did to him. He died a dictator's death. It was so beautiful. So beautiful. That was on this day in 2011. On this day in 2023, a business jet carrying key leadership from the Wagner Group. That's right. It was 1 year ago today, folks, that Yevgeny Prigozhin, the guy who just a week or so earlier, right? It was like earlier, right? A couple weeks, maybe a month or so. Remember, the Wagner Group was Putin's private military, and Prigozhin was the general in charge of his private military, and they weren't getting paid, and they weren't listening to their strategy. So Prigozhin turned his Wagner Group on Moscow and began marching towards Moscow. And then at the last minute, he turned around and he said, never mind. It's like they made a deal. He and Putin made a deal. Something worked out. And then on this day, a couple of weeks later, his plane curiously crashes while leaving Moscow. How many people were killing? All 10 people on board. It was on this day in 1923. Members of the Russian private military group Wagner are killed in a crash. All 10 people on board were killed. All right, there you go. That's it. That's it for this day. That's it for this day in history. Let's do birthdays. People claiming it's their birthday. Barbara Eden, born on this day in 1931. She was Jeannie. Jeannie was hot. You always categorize Jeannie against Samantha from Bewitched. At least I do. So if we were going to kiss, marry, kick, we need to add somebody else. Who else could we add? Jeannie. Ellie Mae Clampett. There you go. Let's just put Ellie Mae Clampett in there. All right. So she was of age, right? Donna Douglas was of age. Whatever. I was 5. So here we go. So here's our kiss, marry, kick for today. Our birthday girl is Barbara Eden. She's Jeannie. Then we're gonna do Sam from Bewitched, Elizabeth Montgomery. Okay, that was her. And then we're gonna do as I just said. What's her name? Ellie Mae. All right, here we go. Kiss, marry, kick. We're gonna kiss one. We're gonna marry the other, and then we're gonna kick the other to the curb. First of all, I think I'm gonna marry Samantha. We're going with Samantha. She seems like she was married. I saw what she's like as a wife. She could cook anything, was willing to use magic. She's terrific. Samantha, I'm going to marry. I think I'm going to kick. Oh, boy. Because now it comes down to Jeannie or Ellie Mae. And one of them's got to get kicked. And you don't want to kick either of them, if you know what I'm saying. One of them's getting kissed and one of them's getting kicked. You know what we're doing? We're kissing the birthday girl. We're going to kick Ellie Mae. We're kicking Ellie Mae. We're kissing Jeannie. And then we're going to marry Samantha. All right, that was today's Kiss, Marry, Kick. Born on this day in 1931, Barbara Eden. Born on this day in 1946, a true crazy man of rock and roll. Keith Moon. Mooney, drummer from The Who. How did Keith Moon die? He choked on his own vomit, or is that a Spinal Tap thing? I don't know. Moving on. Born on this day in 1949. How about Shelley Long? Shelley Long. She played Diane on Cheers, right? She was the one. You could never replace me. And then they went and got Kirstie Alley. So they did, in fact, replace her pretty effectively, too. Shelley Long. But, you know, the funny thing about Shelley Long that I always mention to my friends in Dallas, we knew Shelley Long in Chicago where I grew up because my whole life growing up, she was the Homemaker's Furniture lady. She was on, like, every commercial, every local commercial. Hi, I'm the Homemaker's lady. And she was kind of hot. I don't know. I think maybe she was a big local TV star in Chicago before I thought things were hot or not. But whatever. She was kind of hot. I never really dug her though. Never dug her on Cheers. Never thought. I hated her. She seemed pretentious and awful. I liked Kirstie Alley more. Although I didn't even like her, you know, and she wasn't. You know who I was kind of down for? You know, want to know from Cheers? If we're doing this, are we doing this? We're doing this. You know who I was kind of down for on Cheers? Lilith. Yeah. If I had to have one, I mean, I would have gone Lilith. She's just, I don't know why. She seemed like a bitch. I liked how she could cut people down. Like Diane, Shelley Long, our birthday girl, she was trying to be Lilith. Like she wanted to actually be smart like Lilith and educated like Lilith. And so she came off as pretentious and way too of a tryhard. But she was probably better sexually. I think that if you're thinking about who was better sexually, I think Diane was certainly better than Lilith, unless Lilith was a freak. And I think maybe she had to have been to some degree, because I think Frasier was a freak. I think Frasier was into stuff. All right, I don't know why we're doing this. Well, because it's a stream of consciousness, and we just sometimes chase rabbits. Born on this day in 1949, Shelley Long. Also born on this day in 1949, Rick Springfield. Boy, oh boy, I'd love to be Rick Springfield in, like, I don't know, 1981. Just 1981, I'm Rick Springfield. Good Lord, he was on General Hospital. Then he was, first of all, he's handsome, and he's rolling around handsome with an Australian accent. Does he have an Australian accent? He's from Australia. Like, could he drop an Australian accent on chicks? Like he would even need to. He's Rick Springfield. Whatever, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1949. Born on this day in 1970 in Dids. River Phoenix. He is, of course, the older brother of Joaquin Phoenix. You know this. Joaquin Phoenix turned out to be a really great actor. And it was sort of like when River Phoenix died, people were like, oh, great, we're left with the Jim Belushi of the Phoenix family. But no, I think River Phoenix did, or Joaquin Phoenix did pretty good for himself. He's a Joker and stuff. Weirdo. He's a weirdo. Moving on. All right, there you have it. Born on this day, River Phoenix, 1970. Born on this day in 1976, Scott Conn, James Caan's son. That dude, I hate that guy. I just hate that guy. Doesn't matter what Scott Conn's in. I look at him and I immediately go, oh, he's a dickhead. Oh, I know him. I know his type of guy. He's a complete jerk off. And he's going to try and steamroll us for absolutely everything that he wants. He's the kind of guy who argues with waitresses over tips. That's who Scott Conn is. Fuck that guy. I don't know him, never met him, never even heard a story about him in real life. I'm just going by the energy that he brings in every role I've seen him in. Most notably, I just rewatched Entourage. He was on Entourage for like 3 seasons. He was a dick. He was like the guy who worked at the managing company with Eric E. He sucked. Scott Conn, I hate you. Born on this day in 1976. Born on this day in 1980, Rex Grossman. Sexy Rexy. Terrible quarterback? No, he was not a terrible quarterback. Was he a great quarterback? No, he was not a great quarterback either. Was he a quarterback? He was a functioning NFL quarterback for a period of time. Rex Grossman. Born on this day in 1980. Sexy Rexy. Born on this day in 1990, only mentioning him because I accidentally gave him a shout out yesterday. It's Seth Curry's birthday. was trying to talk about Steph Curry yesterday, and I accidentally said Seth Curry, which is like they are not the same, although they came from the same place. Happy birthday, Seth Curry. You're not Steph Curry. Born on this day in 1990. Born on this day in 1995. Here's a woman whose story I became familiar with about a year or so ago because I love these stories. All right, let me tell you something that I want to do. This is one of the projects that I want to do here at Radio Misfits Dallas. We have these beautiful studios. So when we used to do the Pugs and Kelly show, we had all of these. It was the swinging 2000s, baby. So we had all of these deals because we were the Howard Stern station. We had all these deals with, adult industry products and stuff like that. So there was some degree of that. And we talked to a lot of adult film stars. We interviewed a shit ton of film stars. And, I was always proud that they liked coming on our show and they could open up to us and talk about things that maybe they wouldn't talk about on other shows, simply because we weren't a show that wanted them to just come in and get naked. Let me see your boobs. Can I touch them? There are a lot of those shows. We didn't do that. We just had a porn star in and we were talking about high school. You're like, what was it like growing up? What got, this is a real interesting lifestyle choice. We didn't condemn their choice, but we were curious. And if you can be respectfully curious when talking to somebody about a touchy subject, they'll open up to you. So I had some of the best interviews, some of the best conversations I had with anybody. They were with a lot of these porn stars. So I had this idea. I'm like, nobody has ever compiled an entire catalog of just one-on-one deep dive interviews with porn stars, not sexual in nature, but just, let's learn about them, that kind of thing. So that was a project I was kind of working on. And if you follow me on social media, you might remember that I had a bit that I was doing for a period of time called Who's Killing All the Porn Stars? Because all of these porn stars were dropping dead. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is the podcast where we just do deep dives on all of these adult film stars that have died in the last couple of years under really weird circumstances. So that was something that I was working on. And I came to be very familiar with this story. This girl was born on this day in 1994. Her name was August Ames. August Ames. She's not a mainstream. I don't even know how big she was in the porn world. But her story was crazy. She killed herself after being online bullied because she made, oh God, no, I got to get this. She made look, she's dead. She made a provocative comment online on Twitter, and the entire porn industry came for her. And it was really brutal apparently. And she had weeks and weeks of this, and she ended up killing herself over it. And it's a really interesting story, and I won't get into it there, but born on this day is August Ames. I still want to do that. I think that there is something. I think there are clicks for somebody who is willing to just have all of these conversations with all of these porn stars. And you can't do them all because there's thousands, but you know what I mean? Like the key ones, like the big names, and learn all about it. The number one, we're in the game of creating content that gets clicks. Now, whereas I don't ever want to be involved in, actual pornography, I do think there's something interesting to the idea that these people have never really been talked to. Never really, sure, Stern, you can probably Google search a number of. Anyway, August Ames is an interesting story. You should go look that up. It's really sad. Anyway, there you have it. August Ames, birthday, the last one we're going to do today. Let's talk about people who are dead. Speaking of August Ames, here we go. People who died on this day. Where'd they go? Heaven or hell? Heaven or hell? Dead on this day in 1926. Rudolph Valentino. Gay. I don't know. Wasn't he supposed to be the great lover? He's the original Brad Pitt or whatever you want to say. He's the original heartthrob dude. He was probably gay. That's what they say. They say he was probably gay. It was all just an image thing. Would you know Rudolph Valentino? Is that even a name? Do I only know it because I'm old? I'm on the older side of who's all listening here. Does anybody know who he is? Could you pick him out of a line? I don't know. He's going to hell. Let's put him in hell. Anyway, yeah, he's one of these guys. He was a great Hollywood Lothario. The women all loved him, and apparently, started writing books about him in the 70s about how he was gay. Because, of course, everybody was back then who wasn't. Everybody who wasn't gay for your grandparents' generation was gay. And they got to let you know. And I don't know why they got to let us know, but whatever. It just causes fights between you and grandma. Hey, Grandma, did you hear that Cary Grant was gay? How the hell do you come with this information? I said that to my grandma. It's an actual conversation I had with my grandma once. When I told her that Cary Grant was gay, she got so mad at me. She got so mad at me. Well, he wasn't gay, but he just, sometimes. And my grandma, she didn't come from a world where you called people gay. It's not. But if you were homosexual, you know what my grandma used to say you were? She used to say you're a gay blade. A gay blade. I don't even know what that is. Like, what is that? Oh, he's one of those. Oh, no, it was first time I heard it, I think she was talking about Liberace, because my grandpa used to always say, because my grandma liked Liberace. And he'd come on TV and my grandma would be like, look at how handsome he is. And my grandpa would be like, Bernie, her name is Bernie, I don't think he's interested in you. And then he'd laugh and then I'd laugh. I didn't know what it meant, but I laughed because we're all laughing at grandma. And then I said, why? And I remember my grandma turned to me and she said, because he thinks everyone's a gay blade. And I'm like, a gay blade? I have follow-up questions, grandparents. What is a gay blade? I don't think I got the answer to that. Anyway, Rudolph Valentino, we're going to put him in hell. Why? I don't know. Why not? Dead on this day in 2023, we already talked about him. Yevgeny Prigozhin. He was the head of the Wagner Group. He was the guy who turned his army away from Russia because he believed that he had some sort of deal with Putin, and then Putin killed him. You're a dummy, and you're probably a terrible butcher of a madman, so you're going to hell. There you go, Prigozhin. His plane crashed. He went right to hell. All right, folks, that's going to do it. One more time, I want to remind you how this show is run. It operates on your gratuities. If you feel compelled to tip the show and help us out, please do. It's been a couple of weeks of incredibly dry shows, but you know what? That's okay. We'll get through it. Let's do a postmortem on the DNC. The Democratic National Convention was last night, and guess what? Beyonce didn't show up. Taylor Swift didn't show up. George W. Bush didn't show up. Melania didn't show up. Melania. That was funny. Our surprise speaker at the Democratic National Convention is Melania asking for a divorce. That didn't happen. None of that stuff happened. But I don't know. I guess who talked? A bunch of people talked. Did you see they put a dress? They put a dress on Kamala's curiously interesting stepdaughter. And I say curiously interesting because I don't judge people by how they dress or how they lead their lives, but I know a lot of you do. So I'm just kind of dangling that bait, like, come get it. You got a thought on a girl who wears her hair like that and has those tattoos. You have an opinion. Let's hear it. Come on, let it out. She's a grown-up. She spoke last night and she looked, you know what she looked? The tattoos would have still freaked out my grandparents, but at least she looked like she was wearing a dress. At least she looks like a girl. It's probably what old people thought. And I'm sure that's why she dressed that way. She was told how to dress. That's not her style. She looked lovely, but that's not her style. She's a Williamsburg, Brooklyn, bohemian, art forward kind of, she's like everything those people in Kansas who, don't dig about the left. She is that. She is like that. So they brought her out. She gave a speech. With Kamala's niece and Kamala's goddaughter. And those three looked like they'd never spoken before. They tried to present it like, we're her family. I don't think they ever, I don't know. They look like they come from different branches of that Kamala tree, but who else did we get? We got Kamala's sister. Can I just say, is she single? Is Kamala's sister, is Kamala's baby sister single? Because Daddy was interested. I'm like, holy cow, she's like a hot Kamala. And Kamala's not unattractive. She's just, Kamala, she's fine. She's fine, she's fine. Kamala's sister, though, she came out there. I'm like, all right. She's single. What's her deal? How great would that be? I just started dating like Kamala Harris's little sister. Hi, this is my girlfriend, the little sister of the president of the United States. Wow, wishful thinking. And wishful thinking, of course, because this is my fantasy. I don't want to date her if she loses the presidential election. So in this, I'm actually dating. That would be cool. All right, I wish I was like super powerful. If I was Elon Musk, like I would try this shit. If I was Elon Musk, I'd like see that last night and be like, oh, I'm kind of attracted to her, and then I would know someone to call, or I could just like get hooked up on a date. We were talking about Scott Conn earlier. Scott Conn, the son of James Conn. It's his birthday today, and he's an asshole. But do you know that James Conn used to flip through a Playboy magazine, pick out the girls that he wanted, and then he would call Hugh Hefner, and they'd send the girl over? Whoa! Well, that sounds like prostitution. It sounds like sounds to me like Hugh Hefner was a pimp. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. It's fucking James Conn. You don't think some chick that's gonna pose for a magazine that wants to take me naked, some chick that's gonna pose naked for a magazine, you think she doesn't want to hang out with James Conn in 1970 in Malibu? What the fuck is that pimping? Here's what it is. Phone rings. Hugh Hefner picks up. Hello, Hugh Hefner here. And then James Conn is like, yeah, Hugh, I was looking at page 15 of the latest, what's her name? Hold on, Jimmy. Hold on. And then Hugh goes through it, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's Brittany. She's from Kentucky. She's been in town for 3 weeks. You want to meet her? And James is like, yes, I very much would like to meet her. And then he goes, and he gets Brittany, and he goes, hey, Brittany, you want to hang out with James Conn? And Brittany says yes. Brittany says yes because, of course, she does. Look, man, don't hate the player, hate the game. The game was set up so that people who are famous dudes, hey, Trump said it, right? When you're famous. Anyway, how do we get on that conversation? Oh, because I want to date Kamala Harris's sister. Because I want to date and I want to marry Kamala. I want to marry into that family. Tell you, I wouldn't have any problems getting my podcast paid for then. Oh, I'd have all the advertisers at that point. What else did they do at the DNC? Chicago didn't burn down. That's good. That's good, you people. It's going to be it's going to be a shit show. It wasn't a shit show at all. It was actually a really well-run convention. And I'm not talking about what was going on the stage. There were some cool moments, but there was also some, well, there goes the Democrats dick tripping again. But I'm talking about, the streets. The streets of Chicago's a war zone. No, it wasn't. Chicago was actually a really beautiful place for the past week, and a lot of people came from all around the country, and they discovered that on their own. What else? Oh, and the other thing, I have to address this again today. I saw somebody on Twitter say there were, and then they mentioned the arrests and the amount of protesters. There were this many at the DNC. There was none of that at the RNC. And it's like, stupid. Let me remind you again, the incumbent party, the party of power, is always the one that draws the biggest protests. It's because, you see, they're the ones who have been in power. They are the ones who are currently in power, and they are the ones who are trying to stay in power. The challenger doesn't draw much interest from these groups that really only want to be where the incumbents are. That's why. But there were also a whole bunch of protests in Milwaukee. Everybody doesn't love Trump up there. There was a whole bunch of weirdo Wisconsin lefties up there in the street. But there wasn't. Bottom line is, Chicago, you made me proud. Goddamn war zone to most people. But it's not. It was actually very nice. So they did fine. What else do we have? As I said, no Beyonce. Kamala talked. If I'm being honest with you, I did not watch Kamala's speech. I didn't see her speech. I don't need to see her speech. I got a pretty good idea of the kind of stuff she's going to say. That's fine. I don't need to see her speech. I chose instead to watch the fourth quarter of a meaningless Chicago Bears Kansas City Chiefs preseason game. So that shows you. Although, in fairness, it was on the computer screen. I had the TV had the game, but the computer screen, the laptop was open, and her speech was on, and I could see, I didn't have the sound on, but I could, see her doing stuff. I could see her moving around. So, all right, there you go. She made a boring political speech. What else did they have yesterday? Nothing. That's it. Nothing more. That's it. All right. DNC is in the books. My city didn't shit the bed, which I'm very proud of. And there was a fun roll call. That's it. That's going to be my takeaway. The roll call. There is a Spotify playlist for it, by the way, which I have, added to my Spotify home playlist because I think it's fun. I'm going to listen to it with my kid in the car. I'm like, did you hear the roll call at the DNC? And then he'll look at me and he'll go, I'm fucking 15, Dad. No, I didn't see the roll call at the DNC. I'm going to be like, you want to hear it? And he's going to be like, no. And he's going to slowly put his headphones on. That's his move in the car. When he doesn't want to listen to what I'm about to lay on him, he will slowly get his headphones and start to put them on. And that's where I drop the bomb. You put those headphones on and your budget at Taco Bell tonight for dinner drops by $3. Boom! And he looks at me and he's like, what? What if I listen to it? And then I'll say, okay, so what if I listen to it? If I don't listen to it, you're going to deduct $3 off because we usually go to Taco Bell. It's our tradition. He likes it. And I go, so then, this was actually the last time I drove with him. I was trying to get him to listen to a Chicago Bears interview because I'm trying to brainwash him. So basically what it was he increased by $5 because he actually listened to the interview. I'm like, look, if you put those headphones on and disrespect me in this way, you will get $3 less at Taco Bell. So think about that, Mr. Large Baja Blast. Think about that. That Baja Blast has wings. He says, okay, so what if I listen to it? What do I get? Because he's very transactional because he's 15. And I say, okay, I'll increase your budget to $5. And then he says, so what is my budget now? I'm like, your budget right now is $10 out the door, in the door, out the door. That's your dinner. You get $10. You can get whatever you can get for $10. That's what you're getting right now. If you listen to this interview, you can go 15. I see some cinnamon crunchers in your future. If you just listen to this, that's how we work. I got nothing else on the DNC. What's going on with RFK Jr.? He's in Arizona. Trump is in Arizona. RFK Jr. is in Arizona. RFK Jr. is he pulled himself off the ballot in Arizona. Like made a big show of that this morning. Like I am taking myself off the ballot here in Arizona. And then the person at the registration office was like, wait, what is your name again? I don't even see you here. What do you? Oh, way at the. Oh, I see. Here you are. Okay, yeah, whatever, dude. You're off the ballot. No concern about you accidentally winning the state now. Come on, it's all so performative. So he may or may not endorse Trump today at this Arizona rally. That may or may not have happened. You people can figure that out for yourself. But his wife, I'm more interested in the wife stuff. Like his wife is Cheryl Hines. She's an actress. She was on Curb Your Enthusiasm. She played Cheryl David, Larry David's wife, for the first, 48 seasons of that 72 seasons. That show's been on forever. She was on it for a long time. Even when they divorced, she still had a story arc with Ted Danson because she hooked up with him. But she's married to RFK Jr. and she's a big old lib. She famously, back during COVID, she had a Christmas party. And although she's married to one of the great vax denier guys of our time, she had a Christmas party where she demanded that all the guests be vaccinated. And, that made some rounds. People are like, oh, RFK is Mr. Anti-Vax, but his holiday party, you got to be vaxxed. It's like, and he blamed it on her. It's like, well, I'm married to a crazy Hollywood chick. It's got to suck for her because you know what? Cheryl Hines, you got to understand, and I don't know if you're old enough to get this or not, but there are women who grew up in a certain era in America where, and especially like Catholic women, like if you were raised Catholic or if you were raised Irish Catholic, forget about it. I don't know how Cheryl Hines was raised, but she certainly does fit a woman who grew up in the era when if you married a Kennedy, you became an American princess. That was it. Every woman of her age, what is it, like women born in 1960, like any woman born in 1960, by the 1980s, they were just gobbling up Kennedy men because it was a big thing. Cheryl Hines got her Kennedy. She got Cheryl Hines. So that's a very big victory. You know that when Cheryl Hines got engaged to RFK Jr., she called her high school friends and was like, I'm a Kennedy. You got the one with brain worms, baby. You got like the least potential Kennedy. You got the one that was a heroin addict. Anyway, she don't like Trump. Apparently, there's problems in the marriage. She doesn't like Trump, and she is apparently not talking to her husband at the moment. She doesn't want him to go through with this. And so we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if it's already happened. Doesn't matter. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that anybody. I don't know. I don't know what that does. I don't know what it does. I can't speak to the influence of RFK Jr. I know that he holds great sway with the loony bin crowd, but regular Americans, the rest of us, I mean, I don't know. I'm very turned off by him. His story is his ex-wife killed herself while he's banging Cheryl from Curb Your Enthusiasm. He was a junkie. He's talking about brain worms. Put a bear in Central Park. There's just so much weird shit about him. And he grew up a Kennedy, which does not put you in the win column as far as I'm concerned. I may be Irish Catholic, but I don't think that these people are somehow exalted to be our supreme rulers for the next 100 years. They're just a bunch of wealthy rich kids at this point. Let's see here. Oh, here's something that happened yesterday. This was exciting. I don't know. The news media well, I shouldn't say the news media. That is unfair of me. Certainly it wasn't the mainstream media because I didn't see this in mainstream media, but I did see it with a bunch of hack, libtard, we're going to call them, lefty journalists, as well as, psycho right-wing fascist journalists, all of them on Twitter. They were all pushing this story yesterday. So it was kind of exciting. If you're an idiot like me who only gets their news from Twitter. There was, before today's speech in Arizona, there was a dude in Arizona who was lambing it. They were all looking for him because he's a wannabe assassin. Apparently, he's a crazy person who made threats against President Trump, and President Trump was coming to Arizona, and they couldn't account for this guy. It was very exciting. I don't know if it was exciting, but it was like, ooh, this is a story. They caught him. They caught him yesterday. Arizona man is in custody amid investigation into alleged threats to kill, or to try to kill, let's be honest, former President Donald Trump. He's 66 years old. His name is Ronald Lee Searwood. I only pronounced it like that because I was trying to be fancy. He's a white dude. Here, I'll show him to you just so you're not like, that sounds like terrorism. That guy sounds like, let me show you. We'll get you a picture of this guy. Do we need a picture of him? Or am I just being... Yeah, there he is. All right. I got to be honest. He looks like a Trump supporter. He looks like the kind of guy that'd be like, that dude votes Trump. Here. Boop, boop, a doo, doo, doo. There he is. Look at him. All right, look, right when you say that dude, when you be like, that dude looks like a Trump supporter. He looks pretty MAGA. He doesn't look like a lefty. I'm not saying he is. Maybe he's just, and bear with me on this, maybe he's just fucking crazy. That could be it. So maybe there is no consequence to whatever his stated political beliefs are, because you see the overriding factor about his defining characteristic is that he's fucking crazy. So whatever he is, I don't know. But look at him. He looks like I wouldn't look twice at him in a MAGA rally. I'd be like, yeah, that dude, he checks boxes. Anyway, they caught him, and now that whole thing is over with, and I guess Trump is going to be able to speak. Is he already speaking? Is he in his glass box? He's going to be at the wall, right? He's at the border wall. Is that even a thing? Is there a border wall or like a stretch of it, right? All right. Assassin has been caught. Here, let's watch this video. This comes to us from Facebook. This is a principal in California who has lost his job. Now, I got to ask you, does this principal deserve to lose his job? Let me explain what we're seeing here. This is a pep rally, a back-to-school pep rally in, let me make sure I got the place right. Now, weirdly enough, this is the principal. Weirdly enough, this pep rally seems to have a Vegas theme, right? Hold on, let me make sure. Here we go. Boop, boo. Come on. California principal has been placed on leave after parent posts video of weird dance with the mascot. Video of a back-to-school event at Buhak Colony High School. Where is Buhok Colony? Is this in California? I think it's California. Yes, Atwater, California. So it's a back-to-school event at Buhok Colony High School in California. And the theme of the back-to-school event seems to be Las Vegas. There are decorative playing cards all over, and there are some other, Vegas-y kind of looking things. So the theme seems to be Vegas. And at some point, you even hear somebody say, I guess the mantra of this pep rally would be, what happens at Bucharest Colony High School State, or whatever it is. It's just weird. That's already weird. What happens here stays here. You don't want to be saying that to kids. That's basically like if you tell your parents about what's right. That's like, first of all, awful messaging. So if this principal was down with this kind of whole vibe, Vegas, what happens here stays here. If he was down with that, I think that's a misjudgment. I think that you should bring him in front of a board of people with gray hair, and they probably have some questions for him on that. But if I was a parent, I'd be like, all right, that's kind of fucked up, but whatever. Hey, America 2024. I wouldn't make a big stink about it. I don't care. However, then this happens. I don't know if you can see this video. We're going to watch this video. This is the... no, hold on. Let me close these just so we got it all. Yeah. Okay. The principal is seated in a chair in the middle of the basketball field, court, and everybody's going nuts. The principal appears to be getting a lap dance at Vegas themed pep rally. What happens just watch this. There's no sound, or is there sound? Maybe So the kids are loving it. All right, so you see there's the mascot. He appears to be a giant bee. I don't know what he is. He's a giant, looks maybe a hornet, and that is the principal seated in the chair. Let's watch. Well, let me bring the sound down a little bit more. So you tell me you're a parent, you're watching this. All right, look at that. Not so sexual at the moment. Okay, now it's okay. So that's kind of sexual. And why did the principal just seemingly ejaculate all over the mascot while seated? Did you see that? He grabbed. What is he simulating there? What is he? This is okay. This is kind of weird. We'll watch that again. Lap dance, look at him showing him my ass. Oh my God, I'm so hot for that. Oh, I just blew all over you. Come on, guys. Come on. There is some really poor judgment here. Now the principal. Now the principal is doing the lap dancing.
What are you really doing? You have any work? What happens in Buhok stays in Buhok.
There you go. So that principal has been put on leave after a parent saw that and went, yeah, I don't. So I'm kind of struggling with it because I will completely admit, and if I was on a panel of people and we all had to cast our vote, I'm not going to fight anybody. If there's a clear majority, like I can go either way. It is very questionable judgment. I will say that. It is very, he obviously believes that these kids are old enough and mature enough to handle a certain bit of sexual parody or erotic satire that maybe children should not. I'm sure the kids are old enough to handle it. I'm sure that estimation on the principal's part was correct. The kids are old enough to handle that. But that is not where I think his lack of judgment shows its face. It's not that they couldn't handle it. It's that he just shouldn't be doing it. It's just he doesn't need to be the one testing the waters. Get away. First week of school. He's probably all excited. It's going to be a great year. The basketball team's looking good. First week of school, boom, he's put on leave. Don't know how long he's going to be put on leave. Here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want this man to lose his job. I don't want this man to he should never be around children again, and he should register as a sex. We've got to be measured in what we see going on here. Maybe he doesn't get to be a principal anymore. He seems very coachy. He seems like maybe he could be a coach and a science teacher or whatever. I don't know that he should ever be allowed to be a principal at this school again. I think that. But lose his job. You should read some of the comments. This is so inappropriate. No, it's not. It shows bad judgment. And he probably should not be the one setting policy for the entire school. He's proven that, man, that's weird. That is just weird. And also, I keep going back to the notion of what happens at Bukak stays in Bukak. Bukak? That can't be right. It is. Oh my God, it's Bukak. Oh, I'm surprised they didn't do like a whole Bukaki kind of thing with like everybody letting loose with those explosive glitter bombs or whatever the hell it was that he ejaculated all over the fur on the mascot. See, that was weird. He knew what he was doing. There's no mistaking what that is parody of. You can't do that in front of kids. And remember, kids, don't tell your parents about this because what happens at Buka, that's alarming. See, all of that is such bad policy and judgment. That's just that he was okay. This will be fun. Now, the other thing that needs to be, the kids seem to love him. The kids do seem to love him. I mean, he seems like he's probably a guy who's got a lot of good things. I don't know. Anyway, his career's probably over. Probably over. I don't know. You come back from that. He's going to end up a cop. He's going to end up a cop in that town with a chip on his shoulder. That's what he's headed towards. Let's see here. What else do we have? We did the DNC. We did the principal lap dance. Super yacht. We want to talk about Mike Lynch and his super yacht. I haven't talked about it all week, but it is kind of weird. It is kind of a weird story. So Mike Lynch is a British AI billionaire. He's a billionaire. He's known as the Bill Gates of Britain. Now, he sold his AI company about 10 years ago to Hewlett Packard, and he sold it to him for an absurd amount of money, like $11 billion. And Hewlett Packard paid it. And Hewlett Packard has since said that the company was overvalued and that, they had to write down $8 billion of the $11 billion that they paid him for it. So whatever, he's like, whatever, he's out of there counting his money. But Hewlett Packard's pissed. They charge him they accuse him of fraud. The government signs off on it. And so now he's being brought to America in handcuffs and placed under house arrest while this dude, Mike Lynch, while he's standing trial on fraud charges against Hewlett Packard. The entire world was like, he's cooked. And guess what? He won. He was acquitted 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, he was acquitted. So he's celebrating, and why wouldn't he? He's a billionaire, and he's got a super yacht, so he's going to throw a big party. So he gets his whole legal team, and he gets all the people who stood by him and his friends and all that kind of stuff, save for one guy. His co-defendant who was on trial with him was supposed to be on the yacht, but unfortunately, he was killed when hit by a car like 3 days earlier. So the co-defendant dies and can't make the big yacht party with all the other principals in this case that Hewlett Packard is pissed about. We're talking about $8 billion that they just got to sit on now. So the co-defendant dies mysteriously. And then on Sunday, the whole super yacht celebration party, the yacht sinks, all the important players die. Mike Lynch dead. They pulled his body out of the water yesterday. I mean, my God. What happened? What happened to the boat that was anchored a half mile offshore where, everybody could see it? People on the shore were like, yeah, we see that boat. Look at it. It's sitting right there. It's beautiful. Well, they said that a freak water spout had come out of nowhere and just right at the spot where the boat was and completely destroyed the boat. And that's how all these people are dead. And I am telling you, folks, that does not sit right with me. Now, people on the shore said that there was a storm that night. This happened about 4 a.m. They said that there was a storm that night, but this boat, which is one of the biggest, has the second largest mast in the world and has a, what did they say, a ballast of 75 degrees. It could basically tilt to 75 degrees without taking on water. So they're like, the storm doesn't seem like the kind of storm that would have sunk this boat last night, but they're all dead. I mean, Hewlett-Packard may not have gotten, the judgment they wanted in court, but everybody that beat them was dead within a month. Crazy. This is a crazy story. I'm not saying that, I'm going down the QAnon hole with you, because that's not a thing for me anyway, but it is an interesting story. You cannot look at these facts as they're coming out this week. And it's important, the stuff that comes out this week. You got to remember all the shit that came out in the couple of hours and days that followed the event, because that's before the narrative of the conspiracy had been established. So remember all of that. Remember all of these things. That's why I always like when we cover breaking news from time to time, when there's a shooting or something and we're talking about it, we're watching it unfold. I always say, remember all these details we're getting here, because these details are all going to be forgotten once the narrative is crafted and we're led to believe whatever it is. There's something going on with this super yacht story. Developing ... I'll leave it at that. Oh, well, here, I'll bring this up. We'll give you a little. In all, 22 people were on board, 15 of whom were rescued. 6 bodies, 5 passengers and the ship's cook, have been recovered by Thursday afternoon, including the bodies of Mr. Lynch, an Italian government. These are the people who are dead. Mr. Lynch, an Italian government official. Oh, no, Italian government's official said. It was a tragic and mystifying turn of events for Mr. Lynch, 59, who had spent years seeking to clear his name and was finally inaugurating a new chapter in his life. Experts wondered how a $40 million yacht, so robust and stable, could have been sunk by a storm within minutes. The aura of misfortune only deepened when it emerged that Stephen Chamberlain, 52, a former vice president for Mr. Lynch's former company and a co-defendant in his fraud trial, was killed 2 days earlier when he was hit by a car while jogging. Billionaires don't get hit by cars while jogging. That's not a thing. Anyway, very weird story. There were like big hedge fund dudes on that boat and like Wall Street bankers and all of these. And those are the ones that died. Like a lot of the crew members and all that stuff, they survived. But no, the fancy guests, the daughter, they're looking for the daughter of this Mike Lynch guy. She was like a 20-year-old like heiress, kind of Paris Hilton kind of girl of London. She's missing too. Found his body yesterday. How about this one? Gateway Church here in Dallas. We were talking about Gateway Church when they were in the news a couple of months ago. Remember the pastor of Gateway Church was accused of, 20 years earlier of diddling kids when he was like a student living in some people's house. It turned out that he like diddled their daughter or something. Anyway, he's gone. Goodbye. So they got rid of that guy. His name was Robert Morris, right? Because I remember thinking he's not the Robert Morris, but he's Robert Morris. So he's gone. Now we got new problems at Gateway because looks Kemtal Glasgow, who is a church administrator. He's the highest ranking dude there at the Grapevine Gateway Church. He is being let go for moral failures. They would not go into any more details than that, but boy, oh boy. Here's a story out of SiriusXM, and it speaks to the world of podcasting. Are you guys familiar with the podcast Call Her Daddy? Call Her Daddy. Alex Cooper. Does that name mean anything to you? No, probably not. It should, because she's one of the most important people in the world of podcasting right now. She is as popular and as dominant and influential as any woman that I can think of. I'm trying to think of another woman in podcasting who has the stroke of Alex Cooper. Well, I'll put it to you this way. She's got enough stroke that she's got Howard Stern getting ready to be fired. Alex Cooper of Call Her Daddy, the podcast, has signed a $125 million podcast deal at SiriusXM. SiriusXM is also the home of Howard Stern. They pay him like $80 million a year. So you got to figure how many people are willing to pay for satellite radio. Can they afford to keep both? It looks to me, Howard Stern is 70 years old. His next contract, he ain't getting one from me. If I'm running Sirius XM, I love Howard. But I'm like, dude, with all due, you can come back, but I'll pay you a couple million a year. You do your show. I'm not paying you $80 million a year. Have you seen this girl? And then Alex Cooper shows up and you're like, yeah, she's 28. She's knockout gorgeous and she's an incredible wit. This is who we're rolling with for the next 20 years, Howard. Sorry. Let's see. What does it say? I'll give you the details here. Howard Stern may be nearing the end of his reign as Sirius XM. A new partnership with fresh-faced podcaster Alex Cooper is being interpreted as a sign that the 70-year-old shock jock and his controversial Howard Stern show are on their way out. Radio host and writer, Cooper has signed a massive deal at SiriusXM, it was reported. The 30-year-old podcaster is set to partner with the entertainment giant after accepting a $125 million contract. She confirmed the news in a recent Instagram post, writing, "Thank you at SiriusXM. Daddy gang, get ready. We are available everywhere and doing it even bigger in 2025. Per her deal, her massively successful Call Her Daddy podcast will remain on its current platforms, including Spotify, with whom she was previously signed. She burst onto the scene with her show in 2018 and has recently landed major guests like Miley Cyrus, Simone Biles, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Ciara. At $42 million per year, the SiriusXM deal will put Cooper's earnings higher than any network television host. The only media members in America who earn more than her will be Howard Stern and Joe Rogan. And Howard Stern is going to lose that. So she is going to be Howard Stern there's no way Sirius is going to be able to afford two giant contracts like that. They just can't. They don't have the advertising sales. They don't have the subscriber base. It's just, but they are looking at the future. So there you have it. If you're unfamiliar with Alex Cooper and Call Her Daddy, check her out. She's the future. We'll just call it that. I mean, I don't know. Don't you find it kind of interesting, though, that Howard is ended by a hot chick who wouldn't put up with him talking to her like the way he talked to hot chicks in the past? That would be great. I mean, seriously, if I'm being honest, that's what Sirius ought to do. They ought to put Alex Cooper on Howard Stern's show. Let Howard but Howard doesn't do that anymore. I was going to say, let Howard try and be like, hey, sweetie, so show me your lips, or whatever. Howard doesn't do that anymore, though. But if you tried to do it with Alex Cooper, this is a different generation of woman. It's a different generation of hot chick. And she's funny. She's funny and she's witty. Used to be a Barstool show, right? Wasn't it when it was Call Her Daddy? I think that's what, wasn't it Call Us Daddy or something? I don't know. She did it with another girl. And then they left and she took over. I don't know, whatever the history is, but big doings. Also, let's talk about FS1, Fox Sports 1. I wanted to talk about this for a couple of days, but I was sworn to secrecy. I know some of the people involved in this, and this is a very exciting thing for somebody that I am a big fan of, and I think that you people may, over the next couple of months, you're either going to hate him and absolutely destroy him, or you're going to be like me. You're going to be like, okay, I kind of get his bit. He's funny. He's smart. He's young. He's got a new attitude. We're going to talk about FS1, Fox Sports 1, which is one of my favorite content creators for sports content. Every day when I try to get my news on my White Sox and my Bears and my Cowboys and Bulls and all of that kind of stuff, I go to YouTube. I go to YouTube and I go to the search bar and I put in my team. And then I hit search. And then I go and I hit the filter for today. Just show me the new stuff that was uploaded today. So it's how I get all of my news. And a lot of that stuff is FS1 stuff. A lot of that stuff is ESPN stuff. A lot of that stuff is Rich Eisen, Dan Patrick, Mike Florio, all of these incredible professional and entertaining broadcasters just on demand, giving me nonstop information about the teams that I choose to follow. FS1 has, over the past couple of months, become one of my favorites. I love Speak. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this kind of sport. Speak is actually a show that if you still have cable, like if you got cable and you got FS1, you're sitting in front of your TV at like 10 in the morning, Speak will come on. And it's one of these ESPN-style sports roundtable shows where people are arguing about sports, but it's got a good mix of people. ESPN, who is the prime competitor for FS1, has gone all in on sort of claiming the youth of tomorrow with the Pat McAfee thing. Pat McAfee has been given a huge chunk of their programming day. They've dedicated it to him. They still have holdovers. Like they still got Pardon Your Interruption. I think Pardon the Interruption is a great show, but I think that those hosts need to be gone. Bye-bye. Nothing against Tony Kornheiser or Michael Wilbon. I'm a big fan of those guys, but when I see them, I go, oh, old guy's going to yell about young people again. I think there are better people. I think there are young people. And that's what ESPN needs to do with their shows. FS1 is making, and I can tell you this because I know a little bit about behind the scenes stuff here. I've known about this story for weeks. FS1 is going all in on young. FS1 is going all in on Gen Z. FS1 is trying to establish a content creation river to anybody who doesn't really care about cable TV, but they watch sports and consume sports content the way I do, which is on the YouTube app or which is on, podcasts and stuff like that. So the first thing they did was they got rid of Bayless. Remember a couple of weeks ago, Skip Bayless left. It's like, good, get out of here. I don't need you. You're wired in a different way. You are wired in like I'm a pissed off guy from the 80s kind of way, right? And I don't think 15-year-olds, I know my son doesn't cotton to that. So what FS1 is they're doing is they're making everything younger. They're wiping out all their shows. If you were a fan of Speak, as I was, it seemed to be anchored by Joy Taylor, but it had Shady McCoy, Joy Taylor, Emmanuel Acho, and James Jones. And it was really good. There's all these old football players and hot ass Joy Taylor in the middle going, nyah, nyah, nyah. It was good. So they blew that up. They blew up almost their entire programming day. They're creating new shows. They're creating a bunch of new shows. And one of the people that they brought in is a guy by the name of Danny Parkins. He's going to be showing up on FS1. He's a hot take artist. You're going to see him everywhere. Are you familiar with Nick Wright? Nick Wright, FS1 believes, is the future face of that network. And I think they're right because Nick Wright, a guy who I was like, I hate this guy, like the first 1,000 times I saw him. Now I'm like, Nick Wright's my favorite. I love Nick Wright. Nick Wright on FS1. Yeah, he's got an interesting, unique look, but if you actually listen to what he says, he's reasoned, he's decent. He's like, you can tell he's a good person, and he's very self-effacing. So I like Nick Wright. So FS1 is all in. Skip Bayless is out. We're going to build around Joy Taylor. We're going to build around Acho, and we're going to build around Nick Wright, right? So first manner of business is they came looking for Danny Parkins. Why Danny Parkins? Because, well, he's Nick Wright's best friend. They were roommates in college together. They worked together in Kansas City at a radio station in Kansas City, which, by the way, this radio station in Kansas City is starting to seem to me to be the launching pad of like everybody in major market American talk radio and national TV sports radio. There's a sports talk station in Kansas City that has now provided, you got Nick Wright was there, who's now a superstar at FS1. Danny Parkins was there, who I'm talking about right now. Shan, right? Isn't that where Shan from 105.3 here in Dallas, he was there at the same time? Anyway, it's a really, really incredible sports radio station. So Parkins started there, and then Parkins went to Chicago, and he co-hosted for the past 7 years my favorite afternoon sports show, Parkins and Spiegel on The Score. And Danny Parkins is a local Chicago North Shore rich kid. So in the beginning, I was like, yeah, I don't need some 35-year-old rich kid. But he grew on me, and he's incredibly talented. He's very funny. He's very quick. He knows football like nobody. He is just a football dork. So he got the big call up to FS1, and my afternoon sports radio show has been destroyed. And I'm very upset about that because now I'm like, fuck. But anyway, those are the big changes at FS1. Here, let me tell you exactly what they're going to do here. I'm a fan of FS1. I like what they're doing as far as creating sports content, provocative and interesting sports content. They do it every day. A lot of people can't get past, Joy Taylor. Who's that chick? Joy Taylor's great. What do you mean you can't get past her? She's a bitch and hot. It says a pair of shows are going to take over the weekday morning time slot on FS1, formerly occupied by Skip Bayless of Undisputed. Out with the old. Most of the time slot will be taken over by The Facility. So here's the new show, The Facility, which will feature former NFL players Emmanuel Acho, LaShawn Shady McCoy, James Jones, and newcomer to the network, Chase Daniel. Hey, Chase Daniel. This is a great pickup. Chase Daniel, South Lake kid, right? Where Missouri, huh? Yeah, much traveled QB2, QB3 in the league. Played probably 10 years in the league. Hall of Famer at the bank. Been collecting those backup QB checks for like 10 years. And here's the thing about Chase Daniel, which is why he's on FS1. He's got a channel on YouTube where he breaks down quarterback play. He's got a Chase Daniel QB whatever, QB school or whatever it is. He's fucking good. He's really good, and he's funny, and he's direct, and he's just so good for him. So that's the new show. It's going to be called The Facility, and it's got Emmanuel Acho, who is also really good, Shady McCoy, who is a dick, but I enjoy him. I enjoy him being a dick. And James Jones, the former Packer, will join Chase Daniel. That show's going to be on for 2 hours. And then let's see here. What does it say? The afternoon show, Speak. Daniel is a newcomer. Breakfast Ball. Okay. Breakfast Ball is another new show. This is the new morning show on FS1. Where we're going to get a whole bunch of hot sports opinion content on YouTube, I'm sure. Breakfast Ball will be FS1's latest attempt at an early morning show beginning at 8 a.m. It will feature Craig Carton, who's had an FS1 morning show since 2022. He will be joined by Fox NFL analyst Mark Schlereth and Danny Parkins, who recently hosted the #1 rated afternoon radio sports show in Chicago. So that's the one I'm interested in. Breakfast Ball. I think this is going to be a hit. Do you guys know who Craig Carton is? I love Craig Carton. Craig Carton, he used to be Boomer and Carton on WFAN in New York, sports radio. He is one of the most entertaining sports radio provocateurs in the business right now. And he's funny. He's funny. He's a dick. He's like Steve. Imagine if Stephen A. Smith was lovable. That's kind of who Craig Carton is. He's like a lovable Stephen A. Smith. So they're gonna team him up with Danny Parkins from Parkins and Spiegel. Anyway, there you go. Big changes at FS1. I'm a big FS1 fan, and they have destroyed my favorite afternoon show, so I'm kind of going through morning. Tom Brady is in the news. Tom Brady is giving interviews. Apparently, Tom Brady hates football, just hates it. He's got nothing but criticisms for the way the game is now, but mostly his criticisms are aimed at the college game. He doesn't like – here's what Tom Brady doesn't like. Tom Brady doesn't like that quarterbacks are no longer being drafted high and then forced to sit for 2 years. Doesn't like that. He thinks that this new trend of quarterbacks being drafted and being thrown to the fire is not good, and only a few can handle it, and many, many more quarterbacks are going to have their lives destroyed, their careers destroyed because of this new thing. He says that it used to be in college when a player would play at a big time college, they learned a program. They learned the college program at that college, and each college had a reputation for the way they played the game. And when the draft came around, teams would acknowledge those college football programs and say, "We need a lineman, so let's go to Michigan. We need a running back. What do they got, on the depth chart at USC?" Like, programs were known for things. Tom doesn't like how that's changed. Tom doesn't like that there are now college coaches who are no longer teaching program-style collegiate football, but instead just getting them prepared for the NFL. Tom Brady says that that's not serving anyone. However, it is also the reason that we are seeing guys able to start in their first year. I mean, it was just a couple of years ago. Mitch Trubisky, I can take you back. He was the #2 overall pick in the draft. The Bears needed a quarterback, and he didn't start. And thankfully, I mean, not that he was going to be great for us, but even back then, Patrick Mahomes didn't start right away. I think Kyler Murray did, or did they have Josh Rosen first? I don't know. Whatever. I think, but anyway, it's a new thing, and Tom Brady doesn't like it. Tom Brady says football has been dumbed down at the college level. It's just a tragedy. So that's his complaint, that the way kids are learning football in college, they're not learning complete football. They are learning a professional play package, and he doesn't like that. All right, Tom Brady. Do you think Tom Brady's going to be good this year? Isn't he going to start popping up on games this year? Like, he's going to be doing play-by-play. I thought like when this deal was announced with Fox, where he was going to be in the booth doing play-by-play or color probably, for Fox, I originally thought, that's going to suck because Tom Brady sucks. Tom Brady's a big bore. He doesn't say anything. But I got to tell you, ever since then, Tom Brady has shown that he actually has a bit of charisma. Tom Brady might be interesting. Did you think Peyton Manning was interesting? I didn't think Peyton Manning was interesting. His whole career, he was just like, nope, derp, derp, derp. You know, that's who Peyton Manning was. And then he stops, and all of a sudden he's in every commercial. He's on TV shows. And my God, Peyton Manning seems like he's a real likable guy. Even though I know the truth. I know the truth about him. I have a friend who played with him in college. My friend doesn't like him and has some stories. Anyway, Tom Brady's mad at football. What else do we have here? Let's see. We're running out of show, guys. I'm so sorry. I know there's something else that I wanted to mention. We did Call Her Daddy. We did FS1. Tom Brady hates that. Yeah, guys, that's going to do it. That's it. I'm so sorry. We are out of show today, but I told you we got a very busy thing. A very busy day. Got a bunch of stuff to do. We'll see you back here on Monday, okay? That's basically everything. I got no way to end it today, but I got to go. See you Monday at noon. RadioMisfits.com. Bye.